episode of ST Squared. I'm Jonah Freeman with co-host Andrew WIllett. Andrew, how are you?
Jonah, I'm doing great. Of course, like you said, another day without sports, but here we are. I'm rocking and rolling.
It is tough. It is definitely tough. But today we have a little bit of a different episode. There's not a lot of sports to talk about right now. So me and Andrew have both compiled a list of our top 25 players in the league right now. The way we're doing this is obviously if we went on the people that have played so far, people like Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson wouldn't be included. So we're going if people were at their full potential that are current players in the league now, who would be our top 25. So we're going to start at 25, go down to 21, discuss. I'll let Andrew start with his 25th and go down a little bit, and then we'll discuss. So Andrew, go ahead.
So we had our top 25 current players. Kind of the way I saw it was if we're starting the season when it's supposed to start this next season, like ranking from there, all fully healthy. My 25 to 21, I had Gordon Hayward at 25, Chris Middleton 24, Bradley Beal at 23, Draymond Green 22, and Kemba Walker at 21. Jonah, yours?
25, I have Chris Paul. At 24, I have Kemba Walker. 23, my man, Devin Booker. 22, Victor Oladipo, and 21, Kyrie Irving. Andrew, I'll let you get first thoughts out if you want to call me out, debate, whatever. I'll let you go.
Okay. So Kyrie Irving over Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
No way. Absolutely not.
I think so.
You're watching it right now. Like Kemba Walker is doing better. Like they had the same test, which is the Boston Celtics, and Kemba Walker is proving that he is better than Kyrie Irving.
Right, but not everything is going to be like the same fit-wise. Some people fit better with other organizations, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just feel like...
And like everyone's going to say that I'm just salty about Kyrie in Boston, but absolutely not, Jonah. Like, when you look at Kyrie Irving in this argument at all, like, he didn't make my top 25. He was 26 on my list, sure. But, like, you look at him, what has he done without LeBron James?
I don't know if you can really say that, though, because LeBron James was a good majority of the beginning of his career. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like, personally, I think player-wise, I like Kyrie just because of his ability to score and all that. Now, if it came down to fit, who's leading a team, then yeah, Kemba Walker. But I like, as far as basketball skill standpoint goes, I like Kyrie. Dude averages like 28 a game. He can almost get himself a bucket anytime he wants. But like, I understand what you're saying in the fact that when you look at it from a leadership aspect, like in the Celtics organization, Kemba has flourished in that role more than Kyrie did, for sure.
And your Devin Booker pick at 23, that's pretty similar to my Bradley Beal pick at 23. I thought it was interesting that we each, like, I had Kemba at 21, but you had Kyrie at 21. Other than that, nothing to say on my Gordon Hayward inside the top 25.
I don't like Gordon Hayward being in the top 25, especially if you don't have Kyrie in there. But me and Andrew have already kind of talked about this. Where I stand on that is, ever since I think if you looked at it pre-injury Gordon Hayward, then I would make an argument for that. But I don't know. I just feel like, regardless of what you want to say about being a locker room guy or being a leader, I like what Kyrie brings as a skill set more than I like what Gordon Hayward brings.
And here's where I'm going to make that argument. Gordon Hayward is a better all-around basketball player than Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving does a lot on the offensive end, but he's also that first option on the team that he's on. Gordon Hayward is the fourth option right now, and he's still scoring at a pretty high rate. And like he just, in my opinion, does more intangibles, does more things to affect winning than Kyrie Irving.
I think both of us make like really solid arguments. Again, it really just comes down to like what you value in a basketball player. You know what I mean? So, like I said, me and you have talked about it enough. I think we both see what each other says. We just have our disagreements about it. So one thing I do want to say before we move on is I think a lot of people would not include Devin Booker in the top 25. but I want to like clarify where I'm at on that, just because I feel like if you're listening to this, obviously you probably know I'm a big Suns fan. You know I'm a big Devin Booker fan. So you're like, oh, he's a fanboy. You know, he wants him to be in his top 25. But like, I think the reason I gave that spot to Booker is like, you look at some of these guys like Chris Paul, Kemba, Lowry, like some of these
Yeah.
guys, they're all because they have other people like other really good players on their team. They're like they can kind of play within themselves, but like every single night, yeah, you have Kelly Oubre, you have DeAndre Ayton that can take some of the load off his shoulders, but it's not like anytime Booker has to give up the ball, he can be like confident that someone else is going to get a bucket. Like Booker literally every time he catches the ball, it's a double team, and he still puts almost 26, 6 and 4.
Yeah.
So like that's where I come from. I just feel like when he's the lone like star top dog on his team, he gets a lot more attention of defense, and I don't think a lot of people necessarily take that into consideration.
Jonah, when I went into making this list, I first thing I did was write down every top player for each team in the league, right?
Right.
And so I was going for a top 25 list. I wrote down 106 names. All right.
Unreal.
And so I agree with you that Devin Booker's doing a lot. He's 28 on my list, so he's darn near to where you had him.
Right.
So I mean, I see what you're saying with Booker. I factored winning a lot into making my list.
Right. 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 And then I get that because obviously the Suns have not done anything in a long time, not just since Booker's got there. So I mean, again, like both of us have our different points of views, but I think both of us are going to be able to like sit down and understand why we're saying this. So if you want to go 20 through 16, I'll let you go ahead and give your picks.
20. I know we matched on this one. Kyle Lowry at 20. You had Oladipo at 22, but I have Oladipo at 19. I am really high on Oladipo. Chris Paul, he was your 25. He's my 18. Pascal Siakam 17, and then Jason Tatum, my Celtics at number 16.
Yeah.
Jonah?
Like you said, 20. We both have Lowry. I have Beal at 19, Paul George at 18, Chris Middleton at 17, and Karl Anthony Towns at 16. I think for the same reason you kind of left Booker off the list at 25 is why necessarily Karl Anthony Towns goes under the radar a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
Jonah, hold on. What the heck? Karl Anthony Towns can't be in your top 25. What has he done?
What do you mean? What has he done?
I mean exactly what I said. That dude has never been to the playoffs. He can't even prove that he can like win games in the regular season.
But neither can Booker necessarily, and you just said that Booker is just 3 spots out of your top 25.
That's it. Karl Anthony Towns on my list. It wasn't great. He is 41 on my list.
The reason I like Anthony Towns is because I think even more than Devin Booker is what help has he had truthfully? So it's not necessarily on him that they're not winning, and he's putting up incredible stat lines. Like whenever the trade rumors came out that he was like one of those guys that could potentially be traded, like the Timberwolves were making it clear they wanted a lot if they would even consider that. And it's because I think he is a top 25 caliber player if you get him put like in the right environment around the right guys.
We have not seen that, Jonah. We just haven't. Like Karl Anthony Towns, and you have him ahead of a guy like Paul George, Jonah.
Well, the reason I have him ahead of and Chris Middleton, and Brad Beal, all of them, you could make a case that they're all better. The reason I have them ahead of first of all Paul George is because, and the thing is too, I think we don't know about Paul George because we talked about it. We're assuming they get back to fully healthy, but is the level Paul George playing at right now, is that as healthy as he's going to get now? Because he's been pretty banged up. You know what I mean? So if Paul George played at the level he is right now, I think he's averaging somewhere around 19 points a game, and then he's always been kind of a 3-4 assist, 3-4 rebound guy. I would take a 28, 10, and 4 over a 17, 4, and 5.
I would completely argue those are empty stats, Jonah.
But then you would have to make the same case about Brad Beal, about Devin Booker. There's a lot of guys on here that empty stats could.
Well, they fell behind guys for me, who are winners, like Kyle Lowry.
And like again, like I agree to you to that like standpoint. Like winning necessarily, it has to matter a little bit. I think the reason I put Karl-Anthony Towns up there is maybe even for hope, like because I know what kind of a player he is, and I want to see him
Yeah,
succeed with the right guys around him. You know what I mean? Because I guess
it's gonna be
potential, I
interesting
guess
to
would be
see
the
him
right word
and
for that.
D'Lo.
Right, right. Because like if we're gonna go off winning, a guy like Trae Young definitely has the numbers to be up in
Oh
this
yeah,
top 25, but again, like his team is the bottom of the bottom.
yeah. Trae Young on my list. Whew. He was definitely lower. He was 45 on my list of
Right.
top 25
So
current players.
so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go my 15 through 11 just to switch a couple things up here. I have Tatum at 15, Klay Thompson at 14, Westbrook at 13, Joel Embiid at 12, and Jimmy Butler at 11.
And my 15 was Paul George, that we just argued a little bit about. 14, Jimmy Butler. 13, Luka Doncic. 12, Nikola Jokic. And 11, Russell Westbrook.
All right. Um, I think Westbrook has potential to even get higher than 11. Like I think he could potentially get back up in the top
Yeah,
seven.
he was like a top 5 player a couple of years ago, right?
Right. I think the thing right now that is he's been, and rightfully so, he got put in a completely different system, but he's been a little inconsistent this year. Like he started the
Oh, but
year
he's been incredible since they went
right.
to that 5 out.
Exactly. Like when he's been playing good, which is why I think he is at 13 right now. But like I just said, he has with a lot of potential to move back up, where we've seen him a lot. Like dude's an MVP of the league,
Yeah.
you know, and it looks like he's slowly making his way back to that level since the trade to the Rockets. So again, I think Tatum again is another one of those cases. Tatum is going to have his potential to continuously move up because he started the year similarly to how he played last year. People kind of questioned, is he not going to make that jump? And then probably about the last 10 games before the NBA went on its hiatus, Tatum was going off. Like
Yeah, he was.
Tatum was playing like MVP level.
And like he really he did it for a solid amount of games. I think that he proved himself a little bit out there.
Right.
I do want to
So
question your Jimmy Butler over Joel Embiid, Jonah.
I think the reason I put Jimmy Butler there is because before Jimmy Butler went to Miami, there were question marks about like kind of right now there are with Embiid. Like it seems like in Philadelphia, not everything is all happy. So we don't know, and like kind of like you said, like the leadership role that is a big aspect of this. So we don't necessarily know what's going on in Philly as far as because the stats
Well,
are
I
there
mean,
for
you've
Embiid.
seen the leadership thing from Butler for years. Like that
Well, right,
Minnesota
but
trip was a train wreck.
that's what I was about to get at. Is like it seems like now that Jimmy Butler is in that role at Miami, you haven't heard any negatives about that. Like, you know what I mean? So I,
True,
I feel like
but
I
that's
think
a
Jimmy
perfect fit for him.
right. I think Jimmy Butler's found his fit. I think he's playing well. I think he's been an extremely good leader for the younger guys they brought in, like Nunn, Hero. Like I feel like Butler's a perfect guy to kind of lead a group of youngins that they have there. And Embiid, again, I feel like a lot of times he lets his own talk get in the way of his game at times, which makes me kind of question if maybe that could be part of the issue there.
Well, I mean, I guess I would argue that Joel Embiid, like if you put him right where Jimmy Butler is in Miami, Embiid would be like off the charts right now.
Right.
So I think Embiid is a more dominant player than Jimmy Butler, and when you look at what each of them has done, like to prove themselves, like playoff battles, Embiid and Butler have gone about the same distance in the playoffs.
Right, which is why I have them at 11 and 12. Like, and I did kind of consider some of these things when picking them because there isn't a lot in between
Yeah,
them. It all comes down to how you value different things. And I personally felt that Jimmy Butler had that slight edge.
and I guess my other question for you is Klay Thompson at 14. It's not a bad spot for him, but I
I
really
don't know.
ranked Klay Thompson highly.
I it's not so much that I feel like Klay Thompson is good enough to be in the top 10. It's just the players that are in the top 10. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
when we get to my top 10, it's like it's loaded like big names, the newcomers. Like I personally felt that
Yeah, our top 10 is
Klay
really where we
Thompson,
get out of it a little bit.
right? And I know you're gonna be a little upset as soon as I say 10 because I have a guy that I know you value very, very, very highly. So that's
I
why I'm at Klay
do.
Thompson. I'll let you go ahead and I'll let you start at 10. That way you can call me out as soon as I give Dame
At
Dollar at 10.
10,
So go ahead. So go
at,
ahead, give your.
at 10, Joel Embiid. 9, Anthony Davis. And this is how highly I just valued Klay Thompson at 8. You saw what the Warriors were without him in the finals. He's 8. 7, James Harden. 6, I had Giannis Antetokounmpo.
10, I have Damian Lillard.
You're rolling your eyes at me right now.
So 10, I have Damian Lillard, which Andrew, again, I don't even think he just mentioned him there. He's not happy with it. At 9, above Damian Lillard, I have Luka.
I
8,
can't
I
see
have,
that either. Sorry,
8,
please
I have
go on.
Jokic. 7, I have Anthony Davis, and 6, I have James Harden. The reason I like Luka over Damian Lillard is because I know when you come to Luka is the whole like what has he proven?
Nothing.
But at the same time,
Nothing.
okay, but this
Damian
is his
Lillard
second
has
year in
proven
the
so
NBA.
much.
But how long has I guess what I'm trying to get at is how long has that superstardom been there for Lillard? Like honestly, like what 4 or 5 years? 4. Like as far as you look at it, and Damian Lillard is a top player in the league, how many years do you think that's been?
I'll have to look that up, honestly. But Damian Lillard he's proved like 5 years ago from last year, he hit a game winner to win a series in the playoffs, and then he did it again this past year. So he's proven himself, and it's been over a long period of time. We're talking about 2 Rookie of the Years.
Right. I mean, the thing, like you just said, and I'm not saying Lillard isn't necessarily a good guard because he is an extremely good guard. He still gets like almost 8 assists a game, but they're both similar in points. They're both similar in assists. Luka gets more boards.
Well, and I think that's where
I mean, seriously, that's why I have them again at 9 10. They're close in my opinion because they both have that outlier.
But I don't think you could say Luka right now is better than Damian Lillard.
But I am. That's what I am saying.
No.
Because you can make an argument that Damian Lillard has been extremely good in the playoffs, but at the same time, Luka's in year 2. He doesn't have a decent, necessarily a really good team around him. Right now, they're in playoffs. Like,
has Lillard had a very good team around him since LaMarcus Aldridge left 6 years ago?
And right now, they're not in the playoff picture. Like they're not. They wouldn't be in the playoffs right now.
They've been hurt. Damian Lillard has been hurt.
Okay. And Luka Doncic, I feel like if you look at Luka's roster, like we have.
He's got a good roster around him. I think you are downplaying the Dallas Mavericks.
A decent roster around him. Especially now that Powell's gone. A decent roster around him.
It's a much better roster than the battered Portland Trailblazers this year.
I'm just gonna move on because I feel like this is one of those things you're not gonna stop at. So, Lillard at 10, Luka at 9, Jokic at 8, Anthony Davis 7, Harden 6. Anything else in there?
Jokic over guys like Joel Embiid.
100% yes. Jokic, I mean, literally, Jokic seems to have it all, and he's not. I think that's the thing about Jokic. But he's not a big namer.
What has he proven though either? I have Jokic at 12. We both agree that he's a good player, but Jokic hasn't proven anything.
What has Embiid proven that Jokic hasn't?
Embiid has gone to multiple second round in the playoffs. Jokic has been to the playoffs 1 year.
I mean, but last year was the first year that the Nuggets were really on the map, and that was again a surprise. So this is going to be the second year that the Nuggets will be in the playoffs for Jokic to distinguish that. You know what I mean?
And I think until proven otherwise, you gotta have Embiid over Jokic.
All right. Anything else, Andrew?
Um, you know what? No. I'm ready for the top 5 players in the league, Jonah. This is big time stuff. All right. You up
All right, so
first?
I'll let you, sure I'll go. So at 5 I have Stephen Curry, and I mean again, dude, Steph has the potential to literally be at 1 if he gets back to where he
He
was.
does.
I mean, in all honesty, I think for a lot of us, it's how we look at him right now. But I think both of our top 5s, any of those 5 guys could be at 1 at the peak of what they've shown so far. Like honestly, so at 5 I have Steph.
Except
At
for
4 I
one
have
guy for me.
Kawhi. Okay, at 4 I have Kawhi. 3 I have KD. 2 I have Giannis, and 1 I have LeBron.
I'm not gonna lie. That's a
And
phenomenal top 5.
I'm not, and I'm. If you want to say, and I know yours is not going to be the same as far as LeBron being 1, but like, LeBron's one of those guys. He has his reasoning to be 1.
Yeah.
There's really no argument there. Like some people view it differently.
Oh, I'm
but
about to argue with
having
you, but
LeBron at 1 isn't. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like you can argue, but
I agree. He was almost my number 1. I really had to think about it.
all right. So I'll let you go. What's your top 5?
Yeah, I'll name my top 5, but first I'm gonna toss. You said Steph Curry, like you said, at his peak, he could be number 1. He had me arguing back in 2016, that he should be one of the greatest players of all time, but definitely the best player in the world back in 2016 before they blew a 3-1 lead. He had me I was cheering for that. I was totally doing for that. Anyway, I'll name my top 5. I know that you thought this one was a little ridiculous, but Damian Lillard at number 5, number 4 Steph Curry, 3 Kawhi Leonard, 2 LeBron James, and 1 Kevin Durant. So really just a huge we just had a bunch of flip-flops except for I had Damian Lillard ahead of Giannis, who you had at number 2.
I just feel like, I mean, other than LeBron, Giannis has been the most dominant player this year.
Yes.
And was the most dominant player last year. And I mean, truthfully,
until it mattered.
I mean, yeah, but so who was your number 2 again, and your number 1? Give me your top 3.
My top 3, I had Kawhi Leonard.
You had Kawhi at 3, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. Like, all of these guys could all be number 1s, and the reason Giannis didn't necessarily show up in the playoffs is because a potential number 1 player in the league.
Jonah, but I'm here to debate you over these top 5. Kawhi Leonard is above Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
who won in the playoffs last year? It was definitely Kawhi Leonard.
I understand that, but again, that was Giannis. So Giannis has been that player that's been on the rise, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you could make an argument for the year before last, but yeah, last year I feel like was the year the Giannis said, "I'm here." Like I'm gonna be a star in this league for.
It's true, but it was also first year head coach Bud.
Right, which is what I'm saying. So again, and year 1 is being that guy. You can't necessarily take away from Giannis just because he didn't show up year 1, in that big time role.
Well, I'm taking that same argument. Until proven otherwise, Kawhi Leonard is better than Giannis.
Again, I guess a lot of mine do come down to potential, as far as what I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is why I think I like Giannis, because, if we get to see basketball again this year.
God, I hope so, Jonah. Jonah, I miss it so much.
I know. This team that the Bucks have with Giannis in front of it.
It's true.
Could potentially go and make everyone in the playoffs look silly.
Oh, if they don't win if they were to win the whole thing, and like you said, if we did basketball, he's the best player in the world.
100%. Which, again, is why you could make so many cases for all these players, because, a lot of people do think that Giannis is, because of how good the Bucks are, a lot of people think that Giannis is going to get that championship this year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's why I have LeBron as my number 1, is because people like LeBron and someone like Kawhi could be there to stop him from the West.
Well, I want to argue this Kevin Durant, LeBron James debate.
I think, and honestly, this is kind of where I'm at in the whole MJ thing. I don't really, because I've never watched MJ play. I never really get into the whole MJ is better than LeBron. LeBron's better than MJ.
Yeah, I
But I
feel the same
think
way.
I really feel like as far as it comes to LeBron James, Kevin Durant, there's no wrong answer there. And the reason I say that is because LeBron is definitely a better fit, and he's always going to be able to get whatever he wants. But if you put a lot of people in LeBron James' body, like when you look at KD, KD has a huge frame. He's a tall dude, so he can get almost whatever he wants shot wise. But fundamentally, KD has to use other things to score. Like KD has to use moves to get open looks sometimes. Like if LeBron wants a bucket, what's LeBron gonna do? He's gonna put his head down and drive to the rim and dunk it.
That's what it should do. Yeah.
Which is not something you can look at every other guy and say that they can do. So I mean, because of how much of a physical beast LeBron is and how much LeBron has won. Like this year, he's got his Lakers at one in the West. That's why I have LeBron at 1. But I mean, again, I don't disagree with potentially having someone like Kevin Durant at 1.
Well, and here's where I'm gonna make that argument, because I know that LeBron James is the best player in the world right now, but I think that's because Kevin Durant is he's hurt right now. But I'm gonna make the argument that every season Kevin Durant has been healthy for the championship. Like he's won the championship the last 2 years. He's been the best player on that team, and so I think until proven otherwise, Kevin Durant is the top 25. And that's what we're doing right now. Top 25 current players. He is the number 1 player currently.
Well,
I understand LeBron all time is better than him, but right now.
Now, okay, so here's where I kind of come in on that. When he's had the opportunity, he's won. Like, I hate when people bash Kevin Durant for going to the Warriors, because regardless of all these other pieces, I think KD in those series was the best player for the Warriors. But at the same time, any of these 5 guys paired next to Klay, Steph, and Draymond are most likely winning those championships.
That's a good point.
When you look then, like whenever the Thunder were up 3-1 on the Warriors, or like when the Thunder had their chance to beat the Warriors in the West,
I'm not.
Like, like how to wrestle and KD not get it done, and then KD also lost to the Heat in the finals.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand why you like Kevin Durant there, but I don't think it can be just because he's won when he's had the chance to win.
And, well, I mean, he's putting up pretty similar stats. He's virtually unstoppable on the court. He's my number 1. But I will tell you that I did struggle, because I really could make the argument that Steph Curry is better than Kevin Durant. And that's where your whole any one of these guys in the top 5 could easily be number 1.
Right. Because they really could. Like, all of these guys have shown their flashes of being known as the best player in the league at the time. So, I mean, it's just like, just talking about this makes me want basketball to come back, because like we've seen all these players have so many like big moments just in this year, and it's so wide open.
Yeah, this postseason was going to be it was going to be so much fun, Jonah.
And again, I do think it will come back. I just it's the same way I was. And Andrew has told me, like, you feel it's going to be neat, like hearing people interact with each other, hearing just the noises of basketball, like if there's no fans. But like having it, like with March Madness, it just like I feel like part of the reason that makes March Madness is the atmosphere. Same way with NBA playoffs, like home court advantage is a big deal. So what if we don't get back to that? Like I feel like that really takes away from the game if there's no fans. So if we can find a way to get back to it with fans, it'd be amazing.
Well, you saw like Adam Silver in his interview with Rachel Nichols for The Jump. He said we're going to look at all options, like, and look into new technology to maybe get fans piped into the arena from their couch at home, which would honestly be also pretty cool. But like we were talking about, like, if we have to do these playoffs without fans, I think it's absolutely worth it, and I think you agree with that. But like,
Right. I mean, whatever needs to be done to get basketball back needs to happen. It just may not be the same.
uh but like what I was saying, I think just hearing the sounds of the game, hearing players and coaches and referees interact, is just gonna be. It's obviously different, but I think it has the potential to be a pretty cool experience.
Right. Right. And I do see that because it is neat, kind of like going. If you go to the Y to play pickup, it's neat when you walk in. It's a refreshing sound to hear the shoes squeaking against the floor, like hearing everyone yell. And like it is like basketball is a unique game when it comes to that. There's so many people that are like attached to the game that like that is a big part of it. Like everyone loves the game of basketball, especially here in Indiana.
Yeah.
So I mean, there, like you just said, all options are on the table. We don't know what we're gonna give. I just hope that they can start playing at some point. And it hurt me because this past Monday was supposed to be when I was supposed to go watch Devin Booker and the Suns play here in Indy, and of course that didn't happen.
I would have tried to get a ticket for that one. I'm not gonna lie. Just to go see your Devin Butchers. I've never seen him or the Suns play, and that'd be a pretty cool thing to go see.
Yep.
Jonah, did you want to attach anything from my list?
I mean, no. I mean, really, no. Like, I mean, I can agree with everything. Truthfully, like, I can see your point of view from everything. And I feel like the big arguments we've kind of already hit. But what about you? Is there anything overall you just kind of like, whoa?
Well, like obviously I'm still stuck on Karl Anthony Towns, but you having Damian Lillard at 10 and me having him at 5, I thought that was a pretty big one that maybe you'd want to go over.
I mean, there's no questioning the fact that Damian Lillard is a stud in the playoffs. Like you said, he's had his moments.
And we saw him at the last month of the season. He was able to play. He was
Right.
going off. He was insane.
Right, but I mean, again, it's just like other than Luka Doncic, again, it's like everyone up there has their reasonings. Like they've shown their reasonings over their career.
But
again,
like you have Nikola Jokic over him. Lillard just beat him last year in the playoffs.
Again, but that was like that was a inexperienced playoff first year surging Denver Nuggets team. Like so, I mean, again, like there's so many arguments for all these, and I feel like we've hit a lot of them. It's just like they all have their reasonings.
I think a notable one that was I saw missing off of your list, Jonah, was Draymond Green. No love.
Well, and that was someone I debated putting kind of there. I thought about putting 3 or 4 names that were just outside, and Draymond was one of those guys. I think he's just one of those guys. He is the glue guy, I feel like. So I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves. But I just feel like there's a lot of people that maybe do more for their team while doing all the basketball things, which is why I had all these 25 people over Draymond.
And then we already touched on Gordon Hayward, Draymond. The last one that I really questioned, where's Pascal Siakam on your list, Jonah?
If I'm being completely honest with you right now, I originally had him at 11.
Did you really?
And when I erased him to move other names like around, I just completely spaced putting him back on there.
Fair.
So Siakam in my mind is a top 15 guy, and I just have completely spaced re-adding. Because like a couple of these guys, when I was making this list, I made them, and I was like, you know what, maybe this guy needs to be ahead of this. So then I'd have to kind of cut some of them out, paste them there, and I just completely forgot to repaste Siakam. Like that is totally my bad. But he is definitely a top 20, top 15 guy. Definitely top 25, no debate. Like I completely messed up there.
All right, Jonah. Kevin Durant's my number 1 player. You got LeBron James. That's our
no wrong answer there.
That's our NBA top 25 current players.
Right. Obviously, we're trying to find ways to interact with all this virus stuff. It's hard right now. Our state's on an in-home order right now, so we can't go anywhere. Like it really is hard finding the content because like, well, me and Andrew are trying to stay away. There are a lot of big podcasts out there that like people do, they're going to rely on those podcasts for breaking news. But if you're listening to us, you know the big news, and we want to discuss the big news, give our inputs, give other ideas. So we're trying to find content for you guys. So please keep interacting on Twitter. Keep
Yeah,
tuning
we
in.
got an idea coming up for you.
So, I mean, other than that, that's our top 25s. I mean, that's really it. I don't know if Andrew has anything else to say.
No, all these sports leagues, we saw the Olympics moved back. They're making the right decision. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Stay away from people. Let's get through this together. And here's just another thing for you to go listen to just get away from all of this for a time.
Right. So, I mean, that's it. Thank you for listening. I'm Jonah Freeman with Andrew WIllett. Thanks again.